What is up, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Beyond the Take. I am Marc Chouen. There are those of you that probably know me, that follow me on Instagram or Twitter or what have you. And if you know, you know. But for those of you that are here and you have no idea who we are, you just stumbled across our podcast. Well, first off, thank you. And second off, let me tell you a little bit about my background and why we're doing this. My name is Marc Chouen. I am an actor and producer. I've been doing this for 10 years. Knock on wood, man. Been doing this 10 years professionally. No other day job or anything like that. And I've been blessed. I've been really blessed. Why don't I recognize you? Well, I've done a lot of different stuff. I'm not a celebrity by any means, but I've done TV, movies, commercials, theater, modeling, even you name it. I've done it. I've made a lot of connections in this. I've done producing as well. And why I'm doing this is because, honestly, as I said before, I'm not a celebrity. There are many other people in this industry like me that you probably never heard of that are working the grind. And you might be wondering, there are different things going on in the industry that pop up in the news. What does that really mean? Well, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to break that down, what that really means for maybe for the 1% of the celebrities, but also mainly for the rest of the industry. And here joining me is a good friend of mine. It became like a brother. He hosts Shot of Wrestling. I was his co-host, and now he's my co-host here. Give it up to Michael J. Puddy. What's up, brother?
So I still am a host. You said I am a host of a Shot of Wrestle. That's still a thing. It hasn't officially been dead yet. We're still good?
I mean, you haven't said anything as far as
That's a no. That's a
I mean,
no.
I have to unfortunately take a step back from Shot
Oh,
of
bro.
Wrestling, but that doesn't necessarily mean Shot of Wrestling's dead to you. I don't know.
Please don't sell yourself short either. The star of season 4, episode 7 of Unforgettable, dad number 2, Mr. Marc Schwann, stole the show. Show stealing performance, my friend. That was one of the
Well,
things that bonded us. You were on that
thank you.
show?
And don't forget
Gotcha.
our love for Jeff Jarrett.
That's right. Jeff. Ha ha. Greatest of all
That's what
time.
that's really bonded us. So, what is Shot of Wrestling for those that don't know? That is a wrestling podcast. Michael J. Puddy is a wrestling commentator for an indie wrestling promotion called BCW. I am a wrestling talent as well. I'm a wrestling manager. I've done commentary with Michael J. Puddy. We have an affinity for wrestling. Um, so why entertainment? Why is Michael J. Puddy involved? Well,
Good question. I've been asking myself all week. Why am I here?
well, I know you do like the entertainment business. You went to school, right? For
Yeah, TV and film production. Yeah,
TV and film production. Right. Right.
advertising.
Right. So like it's funny when I have people in the industry that ask me a lot of questions, right, about my input of things that happen to pop up. And then like I talk to a lot of people not in the industry having the same type of questions, maybe even some better questions. And honestly, I think Michael J. Putty, you offer great perspective, someone that is very interested in this industry, but you may have questions, right? And to that, I think that you offer a valuable aspect to this. And plus, dude, I just love hanging out with you, and I miss doing podcasts with
Appreciate it.
you.
Thank you.
So like that's just like
I still can't
honestly
do one, but
another. Well, we're doing this.
so with that being said, you're just here. I'm just here because I like TV and movies,
Well,
right?
yeah, yeah.
You like football, so why don't I invite you to be my guest co-host on the UFL podcast I'm going to start?
Well, I'm
See,
not.
see,
I'm not
it's apples.
necessarily.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
not a UFL
It's
guy.
football.
I'm not. It's not.
It's,
No,
it's,
no,
it's
no,
football.
no, no,
I
no.
could
It's
throw you
not.
football perspective. Oh, is that right?
No.
I have so many episodes in mind. I think you'd be
You can
great.
you can have me as a guest trying to like lure me
See,
over
see,
to
see, folks,
UFL.
see,
You
folks,
can
see what I'm
have
trying to do here? See what I'm trying to hear? See what I'm trying to do here?
well, you're
But
here, and I do appreciate you being here with me doing this.
cheers.
Cheers. I miss you, buddy. This is what we do. Anywho, so let's get into it. I figure the first episode that we're doing, right? Might as well talk a little bit about wrestling in a way because that's how we became friends. and the brothers, we did a wrestling podcast. And I do find that there are a lot of, wrestlers breaking into this industry. Like, just recently, Happy Gilmore 2 released a trailer. MJF, Becky Lynch. I think Nikki Bella is also in this movie
Oh,
as
really?
well. Yeah. Um, we're seeing the news with Liv Morgan, right? That broke out before a few weeks ago, where she took a hiatus from WWE. Um, she's the WWE tag team women's tag team champion over there, and she typically it's funny like you see wrestlers, right? When it's announced they're doing a movie, you think it's gonna be like a comedy or a cameo appearance, or they're doing some sort of action movie. No, Liv Morgan's going to a straight up drama from Neon Films. She's doing Bad Lieutenant Tokyo, which is a big deal. This is not just like a throwaway film here. Um, and then you have the news with The Rock. I mean, The Rock, and not to say he started it, right? Like, Hulk Hogan, I think was pretty much the first real wrestler to break through wrestling into Hollywood. Didn't do necessarily the best job of it, right? Like he did what Rocky 3, and then he did his
That
own
was the start. Yeah,
movie.
he
Yeah,
did a bunch of movies.
yeah. What was the name of that movie? No Holds Barred. Do you remember
Oh,
that?
Ballard, yeah, big time. That introduced us to Zeus.
Yes. Oh, did it ever?
But then didn't he do like Mr. Mom? Didn't he have a cameo in like the Three Ninjas movie?
He did. So yeah,
Baywatch.
he had a lot of different campus. So see, this is what I was talking about. Like he started that trend, right? That's what we necessarily think of, and that's why I think the news about Liv Morgan was so important. Um, because it just wasn't a typical role like that. It's a very serious role for her, and that could do a lot of things for a career. Now going with The Rock, again, he pretty much took what Hulk Hogan did and did it like no pun intended, like on steroids. He became the next Arnold Schwarzenegger of that generation. But now he's doing something very interesting, right? We did you see that trailer, the A24 trailer, that he's doing with the movie that's coming out? Let me get the name here. The Smashing Machine.
Yes, I
Did you
did.
see
Looks
that?
good.
Looks amazing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Completely different from what we're normally seeing of him. Something that could maybe even get him an Oscar nod. Because did you see images of what the guy who's playing? He's playing Mark Kerr.
Yeah, I looked at
The UFC
great
looks the
job.
part.
100%.
Like
Yeah, who'd have thunk?
you almost don't recognize The Rock in
You
this.
don't. I showed that picture when it came out months ago. I would not
Yeah.
have guessed him. Gun to my head, I would never have guessed that Rock.
No, no. And then, because of the success of this, and well, not success, but like just basically the positive, like, tweets and everything, and I guess what the type of job that he did on there. Now he's got another A24 movie that he signed on to. That movie is called Breakthrough, where he's playing some sort of like guru, like a fitness guru. But it's of course A24 being A24, it's pretty much a dark twist on that. So he's doing more serious movies, but the biggest one that I'm anticipating from The Rock, Dwayne, is a movie where he's being directed by Martin Scorsese. Did you hear about this, Puddy?
Yes, from you. Other than that, I don't
Yeah.
know much about it.
So there's no name for the movie yet, but he's going to be starring with Leonardo DiCaprio and Emily Blunt. Um, and from my understanding of this, so it's a Hawaiian mob movie, right? Um, Kind of a sense like The Departed, but taking place in Hawaii. And essentially, The Rock is, from my understanding, is playing Jack Nicholson's type of role. And did you see
Okay.
The Departed?
No, I did not.
Wait, you never seen the Departed?
Get used to that, folks. There's a lot of movies I haven't seen.
Oh my
The
God.
part of Is it like long? Is it like 4 hours long?
No, no, it's not
Oh,
4 hours
it's something
long.
else.
No, it's a really good movie. Lots of great performances in it, and like Jack Nicholson, I thought was probably one of the best bad guys I've ever seen in a movie. Um, if The Rock is being directed by Martin Scorsese, he's doing this string of here of movies, and I think personally, man, I'm going to call it right now. The Rock is on his way to winning an Oscar, or at the very least, getting an Oscar nomination. How wild
Okay.
would that be?
That'd be nuts. Wouldn't be the first one, right? First wrestler to be nominated.
He would be the first wrestler to be nominated for sure, but to win, and like I think that's what The Rock wants to. He's the type of guy who always wants to level up. Like I called this a few years ago. Like The Rock obviously became the highest grossing actor in Hollywood right now, right? So what does he want to do next? Oh yeah, he wants to produce. So he's got $7 Studios, $7 Productions, excuse me, doing phenomenally well. What's next? I think he wants to be taken serious as an actor, and here we are. Here we are. Um, it's a crazy time for wrestling and entertainment. Dave Bautista doing his thing, John Cena, the list goes on. Now WWE has this deal with Netflix, and obviously that's a great transition there for wrestlers to break into like their movies. Because we all know like studios and productions they love to do their crossovers. So what does this mean for actors, right? That's what I'm getting down to. I used to live in a day where like I used to hate the fact of when rappers or basketball players or singers, for example, would have a major role in a movie or TV show. I used to hate it, man. It used to get on my nerves because it's just like in what world would an actor necessarily do that in the other way around? Like it seems like so many people just take, oh, it's acting. I can do that. It's easy. It's not. It's a lot of hard work. But as I got older, like I see Lady Gaga. I think she's a fantastic actress herself. You see Jennifer Hudson. Um, I'm not going to count Eminem. He was essentially just playing himself in 8 Mile, even though it was a good performance, but he was literally himself. Um, but I feel like wrestling is a different beast. And here to talk about that is going to be our first guest on our very first show. We have a man who plays Norseman at Mayor of Kingstown with Jeremy Renner, which you can check out on Paramount Plus. He's also going to be coming out the TV show on July 9th on Amazon called Ballard with Maggie Q. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for B Todd Johnston.
Yeah.
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 What an entrance. What a way to start episode one.
Yeah.
Oh my
Man.
God. No
Thank you so
other
much for
guest
having
can top that. You just set the bar for every other guest right now. I hope
You
you know.
got to, man. You only get one opportunity to make an introduction. You know what I mean?
I just was talking about Eminem on 8 Mile. You get one shot, one opportunity, and look at you.
Vomit on a sweater already. Mom spaghetti.
I have a kid, so I might have mom spaghetti on me. Um, Listen, dude, thank you so much for stopping by here. We're just talking, we're just talking about, wrestlers breaking into the entertainment industry. We're just talking about The Rock's new roles coming out, taking a serious turn, talking about Liv Morgan's serious role, first major role in Bad
Right.
Lieutenant Tokyo. It's a different shift here. As far as like wrestlers and their regular type of roles, we see them from cameos and the action flicks to comedy. What are your thoughts on this, man?
I mean, so I can speak directly to that coming from the opposite direction, right? Because I am an actor. I've been acting my entire life, and at the age of 38, I decided to try and be a pro wrestler. And I mean, I guess you could say I am a pro wrestler. Like I've trained and I'm good to go. I haven't debuted yet, but it's to me the reason why I wanted to get into wrestling is it's theater, man. It's performance. Like it's all tied together. And I think it makes natural sense for a progression for a wrestler to want to say, like, hey, look, I've been entertaining arenas, I've been entertaining sold out stadiums, right? So, and these these tickets, by the way, to these wrestling events, they're not cheap. You know what I mean? So why not? Why could I not be a box office draw? And when you look especially at like the superhero bubble that we are in currently, right? With like James Gunn's DCU coming out, and then you have MCU that's been, holding everything down with Marvel and like the boys, like everybody's trying to get on the superhero train, and who better to fit that mold right away than wrestlers, right? I mean, they are trained, they're big with their bodies, they can do their own stunts, which is coming to handy for a lot of roles that I book, being able to do stunt work and action work. So I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. And then I think a wrestler's natural progression is to say, what else can I do? How else can I do it? And I think it's a bit harder to pare that down for them because acting, I mean, wrestling is just so much over accentuation, right? Like you're trying to tell physically the same story to the people in the front row that you are to the nosebleeds. And so it's really hard to kind of pare that down for camera. But people like The Rock, he knows what he's doing, man. And he's done with like the action films. He's ready now to go grittier. He's ready to go, deeper inside with all these A24 films and Scorsese, and like he's making the most of it.
I just made a bold prediction earlier before saying that The Rock is going to win an Oscar in the next couple of years. What do you think, man?
Wow.
Is that a bold take, or you think I'm right on the money?
I don't think it's a bold take. I Here's my thing. So somebody pointed out to me very recently that The Rock has never had an acting class, which is kind of funny to me. You know what I mean?
So a few of them happen though. Not just like wrestlers. I'm sorry to cut you off, but other
No.
actors too have bragged. Billy Bob Thornton. I was to
Wow.
I went to one of his screenings and he was doing Q&A afterwards, and yeah, no, he didn't have like necessarily formal training.
He's just got it.
I think Chris Pratt hasn't.
Wow.
Um, there's a few I think that you'd look up. You'd be surprised to see that they haven't had necessarily formal acting training.
Sure, sure. I mean, I don't want to, I wouldn't count The Rock out. Like, Rock is my guy. Like, on top of my Mount Rushmore, like, The Rock is the first guy. And I remember I actually, like, kind of stopped watching wrestling when he left to go make movies. And I remember watching Scorpion King, and I remember watching, like, all these films of him coming up and watching him get better and better and better, and I am really ready to see how he takes on these dramatic roles. Like I do want to see how he takes on this UFC fighter.
Which looks amazing.
It does look amazing. He's got the full prosthetics. He's got hair, and like I think he can do it. Do I think he can win an Oscar? Yes, but that's also partially because I feel like the Oscars are so political, and like I feel like people win Oscars not for films that they deserve, but because of just kind of social pressure that the Academy needed to include somebody for something. Um, but you were
I
the
feel
first.
like, yeah, I feel like I've seen that quite a bit, but like I'm not necessarily saying it's going to be for this movie, that's coming
Sure.
out. But he's got a few on his slate here. I mean, hell, that Martin Scorsese movie that we're
Yeah.
talking about before. I mean, what a cast and the type of role he's playing. Oh man,
Yeah.
if he doesn't get at least a nomination from that, I'd be shocked. And again, I know it's so early. The movie doesn't have a title yet, but like just there's some things that like you can just kind of point a finger at as like, that's something to watch. That's
I
something
can
to keep an
see
eye
it.
on.
I can see it. I can totally see it. And like, look, as much as I feel like Tom Cruise kind of gets overlooked because of his shenanigans, I think he does make movies for the big screen. And
But
I'm
Tom
very
Cruise has been
much
nominated multiple times. Some years you could have said he would have won. All right. I'll go more realistic take.
okay.
The Rock will at least be nominated.
I don't think there's anything wrong with saying he's winning one. And but
Yeah.
I will say you're the first person I've said that's put that on my radar, but I'd be interested to see it. Yeah, why not? I want to see the guy win.
Just imagine that Oscar speech.
Oh man. I think he's probably going to run for president.
Finally, the Rock's.
He's going to call it the Roskers.
Oh my God. They will have a field day with that.
Oh man,
Let
Rock
me ask you a quick.
primetime Rock on the mic was pure entertainment. Like
Oh, 100%. But
pure
then what
entertainment.
does that do? What does that do next, right? Like, you know, him opening that door. Like just like I was saying earlier before about Hulk Hogan opening that door in general when he got in Rocky 3 and all
Right.
these other movies that he did. like he was the first wrestling. He was the first wrestler to be a kind of. I
He
don't
was
know.
the
Was he
first
movie
wrestler, movie
star?
star. He was.
Was he a movie
I mean,
star
Mr.
though?
Nanny, like that was a huge film, and like he was
Yeah.
doing action films. He was whether they were good or not is a different conversation, but like
Fair.
he
Fair.
he was that guy because Hulk Hogan was so huge, right? Like if Vince McMahon is the one who brought all the territories together and said, F that, like, I don't care about territories anymore. Cable TV is out. Therefore, I'm making this thing national, right? Then Hulk Hogan became the child of that product. And you're putting him in movies and he's everywhere now, right? Like, and they don't have to be good because there were lots of movies in the 80s that were not like great performance wise, but they were just fun to watch because what else are you going to do on a hot summer day but go see Hulk Hogan, beat up people on your big screen? Like, uh,
No, yeah,
yeah,
I mean, very fair, very fair. But so Hulk Hogan was a trendsetter here for that. He opened the
sure,
door for these wrestlers to do so here. Now, I think The Rock, what he's doing, like whether he wins or not, I think he's opening another door here. Like, with these movies, what The Rock did with like, with the Smashing Machine. I mean, would if he didn't
right.
do that, would Liv Morgan necessarily get the opportunity to do a movie at this caliber with from Neon
You
Films?
know, I love Liv Morgan. Like, I
Oh,
think
love her. Yeah.
she's phenomenal. And like, she cut a promo last night against Nikki Bella, and she's just electric. And I feel like of the many great wrestlers that we have today, there are certain wrestlers that I watch and I'm just like, they've got it. Like they could make an acting career. And Liv is just so comfortable on camera. She's so seamless in her approach to character. I think she's got it. I do think Hulk Hogan opened that door. I think what The Rock did was totally change the game because now
Mm.
like $7
In
Productions,
every aspect. In
right?
every aspect. Yeah.
Right. I mean, he's doing Disney films, the live action and the animated version, right? He's singing, he's still being a tough guy. Like he's doing like crazy video game movies with whatever the one was the huge punching gorilla. What was it? Rampage.
Oh,
Rampage.
Rampage. Yes.
Um,
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
and like, yeah, I wish that we got to see Seth Rollins and was he supposed to be like Captain America or something? He was supposed to be,
Yeah, but
and it got
he's
nixed.
he's still young enough. I mean, like how many? I mean, dude, not for nothing. Like us actors, how many roles have we got on the cutting
Right,
room floor?
right, sure.
Welcome to Hollywood, Seth.
Right, right. Your first lesson, you may work, but you may not make it to the final cut.
Right. Don't go running telling your family like, "Hey, I'm gonna be in this
Right,
movie.
right. And it's too
Come
bad
get your
that
tickets."
WWE was the one doing it for him. They're like, oh,
I know.
Seth Rollins is not here. Like he's off doing a movie. He's off doing a movie. The headlines, oh, he didn't make it. Oh
Hey,
man.
didn't make that final cut.
Ugh,
Oh,
I've been there.
he's one of us.
Yeah. Look, you're more relatable to me now than ever before.
Right. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Have more of these, Seth. Have more of these. It'll make you feel better.
Right.
Trust me.
It numbs the pain.
There's always the next one.
Right. There's a couple people that would have, and so DDP is a huge guy to me, right? And
Yeah.
DDP has an acting career, and it's okay. Like Ready to Rumble was a great movie. David Arquette, you know
Are
what I
you
mean?
really counting that?
Yeah, but I mean, look, Stone Cold has had an acting career, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that great. Like he
It's
kind of went.
surprising. Yeah.
Goldberg has had an acting career.
Like
He's mostly B movies.
it's crazy to think that Batista. Puddy's gonna get on this one. Puddy's a big Batista fan, but it's crazy to think that
Yeah.
Dave Batista has like a bigger acting career than Stone Cold. If you really think about it, if any wrestling fans are watching this, like you think Stone Cold had all this charisma, still does, and
Sure.
Batista, let's say he doesn't, but like Stone Cold is like on a different level. But yet Batista's another one that's going towards serious movies right now too.
I think Batista does better at what Rock is trying to do because The Rock is
Mm.
still not ready to completely sever ties with wrestling. Dave Bautista said, I want to be an actor. Like, I only want to be an actor. I never want to go back to wrestling again. And like Guardians of the Galaxy was amazing. Drax, there is no better
Oh
Drax
yeah.
to me than Dave Bautista. But seeing what he's going through now, like him having to lose all this muscle mass, to kind of
Holy shit,
come
it looks
down to
like
a
a
more,
different person, right?
yeah, he does. And I'm rooting for him so hard because I am a huge Dave Bautista fan as well. Like I admittedly was not a fan of wrestling. I had left when he had his big thing with like Evolution and just like the crazy entrance and stuff
Oh,
like
time,
that.
time to leave, folks. Show's over. Show's over.
I wish that I had seen him though, because watching him perform on screen now, he's just got the passion and the drive, and he wants to learn, which that's a huge part of it, right? You
Totally.
have to want to learn. You have to want to be able to say, okay, I'm not good at this, which is hard for a lot of wrestlers to do, right? Like you are at the crown, you're at the height of your form, right? And now you have to say, I don't know anything anymore and start over.
You
And
have to
Dave has,
be like, open to direction. You have to be
for
open to
sure.
everything. And I think honestly, like I know like there have been stories about The Rock that came out that some, may have been true or may have been taken out of context or whatever, especially in the Fast and Furious sets. But
Right.
like, there's no way in hell The Rock would get to work with Martin Scorsese to get these A24 deals. Like, especially like I think a lot of people were paying attention to Smashing Machine and like the results of that. Apparently, like he was great to work with.
Yeah.
Apparently he was taking a lot of direction. Like people have been really praising him inside the industry, which opened up these doors for him. To your credit, we are talking about Dave Bautista. Dave Bautista, oh my God, how much he's grown from movie
Yeah.
to movie.
Yeah.
Did you see the last Showgirl with Pamela Anderson?
No, I want to. I need to.
You don't, but
I thought it
no,
was an award-winning kind of film. I thought it had like a
no.
lot of
You know what? Okay,
draw.
here's the thing. So no, Pamela Anderson, obviously best performance in her career. She was nominated for a SAG award for it. But I really felt the best performance in that. What really stood out to me was Batista's. I feel
Yeah.
like Dave Batista actually was like really like a great sparring partner, if you will, for Pamela. It elevated her up. He made her look so much better. Which is
Right.
which is what you want in a scene partner, right? And man, he stole the show in every scene. And
Oh,
like
that's great.
that's something. Maybe you want to watch it for that. Um,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, I mean, that for me, like that was the last movie I saw him. That was what, just last year. To me, that was his best performance. And not to say like I haven't seen other good performances. Like he's like Drax, as you said. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to see anyone else play that role other than him. You know, um, there's an M Night Shyamalan movie that he did too, which looked incredible.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and I just saw his body of work. He's got a lot of movies coming out, man. This
He
guy is
does,
just pumping
man.
them out.
I know that he had like his first like big lead, and it was an action film, I think, for like Prime Video. But he's just putting in the work, and he's like taking risks too. So he's not just picking ones. And like Dune, for instance, Dune 2
Dune,
especially,
that's right.
that was like he's very good in that. And yet at the same time, it's hard to watch because there's that scene where he just gets embarrassed and belittled and just thrown all over the place and wrecked. And you're just used to him being like this dominating force. You know what I mean? And I like that you hear a lot of like ego when it comes to be on set. And I have heard that The Rock is like the nicest guy to be around, the most
That
professional on
that's
set.
all
Like
I've heard. That's
I've
all I've
never
heard.
heard anything different. Never.
That's why I don't know if you saw on Twitter. I can't stand Twitter, but like I don't know if you've seen
I
on
still
there
call it
like
Twitter. Yeah, we're
yeah,
not
no,
calling it X.
no,
No.
fuck X, no.
Right.
But like it was a few months ago, like all these reports, like bringing down The Rock about his actions on set, whatever. I was like, where is this coming from? I
Oh,
have
peeing in
never
a
heard
bottle.
any
That
of
was
this.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I have never heard anything bad about people that I've met doing. I've never worked with them. I don't know about you, but I know people that have,
Yeah.
and never a bad word. It's always been the same. Like what you see is what you get.
Yeah. I mean, I just know him not personally, but of him to be such a humble person, even
Hmm.
still, like to take all the ego of the persona of The Rock, and yet Dwayne Johnson is still like, I mean, that's why it's his production company name, right? Like $7. That's all he had to his name. Like I have The Rock Says. I read that book. I have it on my shelf back here, but like I know he carries his story with him. He carries his family and his lineage with him, and like that means so much to him. I think there probably is a bit of a smear campaign going against him right now to kind of dirty that up, and I think that's unfortunate. But I don't see him lowering himself to that. Like
It
he's
hasn't
just
really
got
hurt him
too much
though.
going on. Yeah,
He's too big to be taken down, and
he kind of is. Yeah,
he knows how to handle it too.
he does. He knows how to take heat, and that's just it's
Yeah,
just heat.
it's
You
all
know,
heat,
like
brother.
if they're talking about you, whether it's good or it's bad, they're talking about you, you know. But I think his reputation far upholds whatever they're trying to do, you know. And I can see him and Vin Diesel rubbing heads because they have creative differences. I think him and Triple H right now are having creative differences with TKO and running WWE, and I've heard that there is a lot of like disconnect right now between them in terms of how WWE is being run, and like we've seen the final boss and then we've seen the final boss disappear, and it's confusing to a lot of us fans, but I'm here for the ride. I think he deserves our credit and our patience. You know, I think he deserves our attention and to see it all play out, but I think the dude knows how to entertain. I think
Yeah.
bottom line, he knows how to entertain people.
Oh, clearly. I mean, he took what Hulk Hogan did and he just like
Yeah.
skyrocketed. Um, So I was talking before, and I don't know how you feel about this as an actor. When I was younger, I was talking about like, it used to bother me seeing like, athletes or rappers or singers like, get these major acting roles when they never acted before in their life.
Yeah.
They see like wrestlers doing the same thing. I've lightened up on that. How do you feel about it? Do you think there's a difference between like, seeing like LeBron James, having a big role in Trainwreck or these other movies, as opposed to like, some of these wrestlers. Is there a difference, or do you fall in the same category? Did that not make a difference to you at all?
I think there's certain shades where I will be bold and admit that I do get jealous. Like the HBO show where it's all about kids on drugs, where they like it's Zendaya is the main of it, right?
Euphoria,
But
right?
Euphoria, that's it.
Yeah.
So apparently, like that entire cast was just assembled from the ether, right? Like besides Zendaya, they didn't want any actors. They wanted people who were raw and real and stuff like that. And Sydney Sweeney was one of the ones who came up out of that. Now she has an acting
Yeah.
career.
Look at
It's
her. Yeah.
hard not for me to be a little bit jealous and bitter of that because like I would have loved to have just been given a career, right? But and I've been working at this every single day since I was like 18 years old or even younger. Um, but at the same time, like that's also just the industry. Like people are just gonna get thrown into the game and they're just gonna get their shot and they're gonna win people over. People are gonna like them and that's what's gonna keep their career going. I think when you see someone like I think with wrestlers it's different. You've earned your chops, right? Like
It's
you
so
have
different.
an
It's
audience.
so different.
You've earned your way. If you are on WWE, that means you are one of the best of the best of the best, and like
But it's also
you
what you were
know what
saying
you're doing.
too. It's what you were saying too. Like there's storytelling. It's not like, in a basketball court, it's like, hey man, so I'm going to say this, right? And then you're going to, it's not like
Right,
that, right?
right,
You're not telling a story there. I don't know, maybe unless you're Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese.
right.
But
That's good.
uh,
That's a good brawl. It's good
it's a good
heat.
brawl. It's a good brawl. All eyes on that.
Right, right.
But I'm kidding about that. But like, with wrestling, it's a lot, it's, it's theater mixed
Yeah,
with athleticism. Like,
right.
like, so you're talking about, like going from acting to wrestling. I myself am involved in the wrestling world too. And, being in that locker room, it's funny because I played sports growing up as well. It really is like a hybrid locker room slash backstage dressing room area.
Oh my God.
Like,
Yeah,
it's such a blend of it. And that's why I think wrestling is so unique. And I feel like wrestlers I never really had that problem with.
yeah.
But I see singers too. I was thinking like Lady Gaga, Jennifer Hudson. Clearly they have acting chops too.
Yeah.
You know,
I
um,
mean, like Ariana Grande and like, they
Ariana
come
Grande.
from
Thank
musical
you.
theater. They come from musical theater, and I have no problem with that. Like, you had musical skills and you have acting skills. You chose musical. I mean, you just chose music, like just straight up mainstream pop or whatever, and you circled back to acting. That's cool. With like LeBron and like even Michael Jordan, like with the Space Jam stuff, it they can't act,
No.
but and part of the charm of Space Jam is that they can't,
But I
even
view
though,
Space. I view what Michael Jordan did in Space Jam kind of the equivalent to like what Eminem did with 8 Mile. They're
yeah,
literally playing themselves.
yeah,
So like it can't really. I can't really hate on that too much.
no,
Um, and Space Jam was what it was.
right, right,
But like you see again LeBron James. I think the perfect example of like an athlete doing is like LeBron James in Trainwreck.
yeah.
I think didn't Steph Curry did something too, right? I could
Is
be wrong on
Trainwreck
that.
the one with what's her name?
Amy,
I forget,
oh my God,
because I think that's where John Cena got his first break,
John
right? Was
Cena,
like,
right?
and
John Cena had a role
he
in it.
was
Bill Hader.
incredible in that movie.
I almost said Amy Poehler.
I want to say Amy Poehler too, but I
No,
can't remember her name. But it's I know her
who's
face. I just can't
who's the
think of
senator
it
of New
right now.
York? Amy Schumer.
Amy Schumer. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
yeah. So that movie took chances, and I don't know. Like at the end of the day, you're still casting celebrities, and they're gonna come with it. It's no different to me than what they're trying to do with influencers. That's
I was so
the
about to
new
segue
blank.
into that. I was literally
Yeah.
about to segue into that. Please go ahead.
I think what Hollywood is figuring out is that influencers are influencers because of the medium that they're in. It just because you have 100,000, 2 million followers on this platform does not mean that all 2 million of them are going to watch this TV show or watch this movie because you're in it. And I think they're figuring that out now. Um, like there's uh, influencers I have a hard time with because it's I'm not saying that they didn't work to get what they have. They absolutely worked. Like I hate Logan Paul. Probably for the right reasons, for the reasons that they want us to hate him as a wrestler. He is a very talented wrestler for
But
someone to
that's
just
but
jump in.
that's him though. That's
That's
just
him.
his personality, man.
Sure.
Yeah.
And like
Easy
Jake
to hate.
Paul on the other side of it, like influencer now to trying to be a credible boxer.
What do you mean
I
trying? He
think
beat
you
Mike Tyson.
Yeah, right,
Come on.
right. He beat him fair and square, like prime Mike
Not
Tyson.
fix. Not fix.
Right, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, he beat Floyd Money Mayweather too, didn't he? Like
Yeah.
it's I think the industry is in turmoil and they're trying to reach for whatever they can get, but it's not translating. Like I don't think you're gonna get an influencer who's gonna transform and draw people in like Denzel. You know what I
But
mean?
okay,
Like,
here's a question though. And I'm with you, right? But why? What's the difference between, a wrestler, athlete, singer, as opposed to Gen Z's version of entertainment being influencers? Because keep in mind, like, Gen Z, they're not going to Hollywood as much. Right? They're
right,
mostly going towards, the content creation. And a lot of
right,
them, like some of them, you would probably they have actor in their profile. So like
sure.
they
I
may
mean,
have
they're
some
under
sort of
the
training
SAG
or
umbrella
aspirations.
now. Like,
Don't
influencers are
get
under the SAG umbrella. So,
It's a whole other episode, brother. Don't let me get into that one.
yeah, I
um,
mean, but like there are actors who are really good at being characters. There are actors who are really good at just being themselves over and over again in every, like, and that's what acting is. At the end of the day, acting is just the power to be yourself or this character under imaginary circumstances. I think influencers just lack that part of it, is that influencers just know how to be themselves and they know how to arrange like these crazy situations or skits. Like some of it can be acting, but it's very one note. Like a skit, if you're playing a character over and over and over again, it's just that one character. But how do you break down a script? And also, the attention span of their audience is like 2 minutes flat. So how are you going to translate that into an hour and a half, 2 hour movie, or 10 episodes, an hour each over a season's
And
course?
then
You know what I mean?
how are they going to act on set? Do they have the endurance and the stamina to last 16 hours on a
Right.
set to like be number one on a call sheet? And what entails being number one on a call sheet? To work with all these different people. Like it's a different beast. I always say to people, man, if you're starting off in acting, for the love of God, do yourself service. Even if you get out of the best acting school period, take a background job or stand-in job on
For sure.
a major motion picture or a major TV show on a major set. Because let me tell you, man, it's one thing doing an indie film, being number one on there, to being background on freaking Mission Impossible 5 or something like that.
For
Because like
sure.
when you're on that soundstage, it is a different animal. It's a different beast. If you're going just from one end to the other just like that, it could be shell shock. It
Right.
could be absolute shell shock.
For sure. And like I also wonder like how influencers and content creators feel knowing that they don't have control over the final edit, right? Like you put up your content,
Oh, that's
you're the one
huge.
in the driver's seat, but like in the hands of another director, in the hands of another editor, like how comfortable are you going to be with like the second take that they rolled out when you feel like you finally got into it around the 10th, right? But they didn't use the 10th because, your eyeliner was off or something like that.
There's so many little things, man. I think that's part of the reason why we haven't yet to see it really transition from like, these TikTok stars to like, them succeeding, have their own show on Netflix or Amazon or have their own movie. Like we
Right,
haven't really seen it yet. They've tried, it just hasn't succeeded at all because
right.
there's no correlation that they're going to bring in that audience because Gen Z will probably look at them just kind of like, like us back in the day in college when we were fans of that indie artist, and then the next thing you know, they sold out and signed a big record deal. All of a
Right,
sudden, ew, we don't. He's not cool anymore.
right,
I'm not into that.
right.
Like I think that's the same thing that's going on here.
I can see that for sure. It's a different beast. Like I personally don't like watching movies or TV on my phone. Like it's just so small. Like I want to throw it up, I want to cast it on a screen like a TV. And I'm trying to even get better now because look, COVID hit, we were all home and it got so easy to rely on streamers, right? And to just be like, well, I don't have to go to the theater because it's going to be on HBO Max in 2 weeks, right? I'll just wait it out. And now that I see the struggle that our industry is going through and I see the efforts that Tom Cruise and other people put into making movies for the big screen. And you know what? Like I've made it a personal mission this year with me and my wife to go to the theater like at least three
Yes,
times a month. You know what I mean? And
yes,
like
love
and
that.
not just I mean, I still want to go to stage shows. Like when I was in New York, I went to as many Broadway shows as I could, and just hit the lotto and like get in line, get tickets wherever I could. But it's not the same theater scene here in Atlanta. I do love the theater scene here, but like the movie theater and saving the movie theater and having a communal experience, like going to see Final Destination and having that big pop with people, you know what I mean? The big
It's a
scare
shared
together.
experience, man.
It
Like
really is.
there's something about it, like all have the reaction. Like what was one of the movies I saw like with my wife? It was the one of the last Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
When they had all those different universes converging together, and
Yeah.
out comes Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. Like the whole audience, man. The way they shot it too
Right.
was for them to expect the fans to have that reaction in the
Right.
crowd, right? If you were watching that for the first time in your living room, it's not gonna have the same feel because like everyone's collectively like, holy
Yeah.
shit, and
Right.
it's such a cool feeling.
I remember because like No Way Home was like what 21 when it came out or something like that, and like I that was one of the first films that I was making myself go to the theater, but there was like we still had to wear masks, we still had to get like
Right.
all these COVID protocols, right? And like you were kind of nervous to be in a big room. I mean, some people weren't. That's cool. I was pretty nervous to be in a big room when New York was like a hot spot for COVID. And I remember I don't care. I'm gonna mask up, I'm gonna double mask up, whatever it is, I'm gonna go to this theater and I'm gonna enjoy this with a room full of people. Because before COVID, I feel like the best theater experience I've ever had with a theater full of people was probably Endgame. And like
Oh, come on.
that
Let's
was a
go.
process that we all went through together for like
Right.
10 years of storytelling, 10 years of films. And like for us to see it all come to this huge head and like we all celebrated that together. And it's not the same watching it by yourself.
No.
And like, I mean, we've dealt with people who love the pirate films and like are never gonna go, and that's cool. They want to watch them on their computer. They want to watch the shitty one where it's like you can see it's in between the seats
Oh,
and you can see
I
somebody's
hate that.
foot
I don't
waving
get
back
it.
and forth.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's for them. Whatever. But like, I know as an actor myself, like I am trying to move from TV to film and like just give me like a couple of big popcorn films. Samuel L. Jackson said the other day, and I love this quote. He said, I make movies that I want to go see. I don't care about chasing Oscars. There's plenty of actors who are going to do that. I am going to do a movie because it's something that I would want to get off my ass, go to the theater and see with a room full of people. And I'm like, yes, yes. And
He's the man.
ooh, that should be like the motivation behind some of these. I mean, look, we gotta have actors for every movie, so it can't be that way for everybody. But I love just that like mentality of like I'm only going to accept projects that I would want to see myself. And as a writer, I feel like that's how I write. I don't want to write like those stupid, sad, mopey, dopey films. Like I don't want to sit in a room for 2 hours and cry. I want to sit in a room and go through a roller coaster of emotions or just jet fueled adrenaline. Like, how is Tom Cruise going to get from that biplane to that biplane and stop everything before the countdown? Like, that's what I live for.
Hell yeah, man. So we talked a lot about the industry channel. Let's talk a little bit about you. For those that don't know, like I was mentioning before, how you have such a big part in the Mayor of Kingstown. Do you have an upcoming show? Ballard, is it called? Is that
Ballard, yeah,
correct?
just
Ballard.
trailer just dropped today. Yep.
That's sick. I gotta check out the trailer. You told me about it. I haven't been on social media all day. I have to check out the trailer. Excited for you, man. You're doing a lot of cool stuff here. But also, I know we were talking in our conversations privately that you just mentioned before. You're writing now.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, basically, like when I left Atlanta, um, like 2013, 2014, I started my career as an actor here. And I went to school originally, like I went to undergrad for drama, but I changed my major to TV and film production because I just felt like it would make me a more versatile actor. I would have, the same thing you're saying about like if you want to be an actor, do background, right? Like get to know the ins and outs of a movie set. And so that was the approach I took. And so I started screenwriting in undergrad. Then when I went to grad school and like focused on just acting, I had a professor who thought I made a really good actor. I mean, sorry, a really good writer, and that I should always pursue that in addition to acting. And so basically, when I moved to New York, all my credits from Atlanta just didn't really matter to New York. They just didn't care. It was very much like, that's cool, but what have you done for us? What have you done up here? And so I went into this like 5 year lull where I wasn't getting auditions. Like I was only doing like student projects and it was just hard and I could not stay there. I could not. And so I just thought like, well, what am I going to do? And I just have this thing where I lean back on all of my training and try and put it together. So I wrote a short film and, I wrote a short film that meant something to me. It was kind of um, current event, kind of political, kind of charged. And so that film went to Cannes and it went to Toronto and it won awards in New York and it
Fucking A,
did
man.
something
Love
for me,
that.
And it really kind of gave my acting career a little bit of a spark. And so I said, okay, double down, let's do it again. And so this time, instead of making a really serious, gritty film, I kind of challenged myself to do a 180 and just do like this slapstick comedy. And that one did presumably well, but it did come out in like February of 2020. And so a month later, like every film festival was done
Timing is
for.
everything. Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. And but through that, through those two films, I was able to restart my career when I felt like it had stalled out. And so um I just have always been, I've written features that never went anywhere, and I've written like, I wrote an entire web series that I couldn't get off the ground, but now I'm excited because I'm writing again and again, just leaning on all of my things together. And this time I'm writing something that's very much about a wrestler and the pro wrestling world. And like, it's something that's different from like Iron Claw or Queen of the Ring. You know, it's different from The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke. But I'm excited to write it because it's very personal to me. And you know, as always, I write things for me. I write things for me to star in because I
Wait, whoa,
no
whoa, whoa.
one's gonna give me the
You sound like
chance.
an actor, B Todd.
Yeah, yeah. I want screen time, so I'm gonna write these things for me. Um, but I mean, that's just kind of the way my career has gone, and it's been good to me. And, you know, it took a while for me to get back into writing, but I finally found a story that made sense for me and something that I'm excited to wake up and put down pages every day, you know?
Dude, you told me about this project, man. It does sound exciting. It's
Yeah.
funny. Like we were talking about, I've always had like a similar. It's not the same idea, but a similar type of concept with wrestling. And but for me, I'm not a writer. I wrote maybe like one or two things before. One of which we wound up shooting, and my God, did the director completely rewrite that thing too? And I allowed him to, because like it wound up being better for it, I think. But the problem I had, like everyone just kept saying you have such great dialogue. You write dialogue really, really well. Your pacing,
Right.
right, right. And so like I'm not jealous or envious or anything, but like I kind of wish I had that gift as well, to write things so I could put myself in as well.
Yeah.
Now I just have to ask writers, please, can you put me in your project?
Yeah, I hate the begging. I'm not
Yeah.
above it, but I hate it.
We're all a little bit of salespeople in our own way. We have to be. But no, that's exciting, man. And like, so you've done so much, man. Like you have two kick-ass shows right now that like it's not necessarily like, a bit part. Like you're in it,
Yeah.
and major networks. You've done the major film festivals, but yet you still have desire to go to indie wrestling.
Yeah.
Um, so you've trained.
Yeah. Yeah. So I trained, I started in New York before I moved back to Atlanta. And I'm had I stuck it out in New York, I'm not sure it would have had the same effect. But like being from Atlanta, I watched WCW growing up. You know what I mean? And like
Okay.
I was a huge WCW guy before the Attitude Era, and then once someone introduced me to like, you got to check out WWF, you got to check out this guy, The Rock and Stone Cold. Well, then yeah, like, but like the Monday Night Wars was such a special time, man. Like in wrestling, like we have never seen anything as close to what that was. And yeah, at 38, I just kind of felt like, all right, well, um, I'm an actor, still trying to get things going, but I'm a bigger guy. And I used to wrestle like in high school, both like, you know, I did Roman Greco like wrestling in high school, but I also would do all the wrestling moves with my best friend Will. And like we were called the Metalheads. He was Iron Will. I was TJ Steele. We had our finisher, the Welder, and like we would practice in the pool, and then we would practice like on the heavy crash pads with the gymnastics would use, you know, and like um but at 38 I was just like I don't know. Is it crazy to kind of want to do that? Because like it is, I want to get back into theater, but at the same time, like theater doesn't really fuck with me anymore. You know, like I got my equity card straight out of grad
Bro,
school, but like theater doesn't really fuck with me. And
I feel that to my core. Yeah,
yeah, it
that's why I
sucks.
got involved with wrestling as well. It's because I miss performing live.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not a singer or dancer, so like my reps are like, it's not worth it for you to get your equity card, because you know you're going to do some play that's going to be weeks of rehearsal, not pay well. It's going to take you away from auditioning for major projects.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, all right, cool. Like I get it. I'll play the game. But then after so long, it's like, man, like I started off doing theater, so it's like you
Yeah.
miss performing
You
live.
missed that.
Yeah,
And the
so
difference with
wrestling is like
wrestling
a
is like
yeah,
you get to create your own character, right? And like you get to like the writer side of me is entertained because we're coordinating this match together with somebody else and like I'm coming up with my move set. And the one thing like even though okay, yeah, I'm 38 and I took huge inspiration from Diamond Dallas Page, right? Like he was 35 when he started. He started as a manager and then like he didn't even win his first belt till he was 40. And now I'm 40. But like what was great was a lot of people were telling me like, yeah, you may be 40, but you don't have the injuries of a wrestler who's 40, right? Like you
mm,
haven't had multiple spinal infractions and like knee surgeries and like all that stuff. So in a way, my body has been protected and but like that storytelling element and that live performance element cannot be replicated. And not to mention wrestling is bigger now, I think, than it has ever been before. You know, and like as a writer, I always talk about how jealous I am that like the horror genre has such a dedicated fan base. You know, like you can make the shittiest horror film in the world, people will flock to go see it because horror fans are dedicated. The same is true for wrestling. Like
100%,
wrestling fans
100%.
are dedicated. And I don't know, it was just fun and it was a real challenge. And like, you know, so I started training here at WWE 4, AR Fox, who's on AEW nonstop right now, who is super over.
Killing it.
Um, he is crushing it right now. He trained me, and then once I started training as a pro wrestler, literally my acting career took off. So I started like booking things like I booked Law and Order, and I booked like Power, and then I booked, you know, Mayor of Kingstown not too long after that. And it was like, okay, well now I can't really risk injuring myself because
Oh,
like,
poor you.
yeah, yeah,
So
poor
basically the
me.
trick is, ladies and gentlemen, for any aspiring actors out there, the trick is try to be a wrestler,
Yep.
and then your career will take off, just like B
And
Todd.
then as soon as you find something you really like, what you've been working after your whole life is gonna pop. Yeah.
Isn't that always the way? Like as soon as like you try to get a vacation or like a
Oh my
life,
gosh.
for me it was like having a kid. My daughter was about to be born, and I got booked for Blacklist literally like the day after she was born.
I remember you telling me this, and that's
Yeah,
crazy to me.
right.
But you got to do it, right? Like,
Yeah, you got to do it. I didn't think I was
got
gonna
it.
get. I had auditioned for that show for like no joke about 75 times already,
Yeah.
and I was like, like my manager Bob. I was like, hey man, I see the dates for this. It kind of coincides with when my daughter is supposed to be born. It's like, oh, you know, just do it. You never know. If we get, we'll figure it out,
Right. Right.
bro.
You know, and you know the lesson behind that is because you had no desire to do this part and you knew you were not going to get it, you came off so relaxed and so cool, like, who
Right.
is we have to have him. We must have Marc.
He doesn't give a fuck about us. What?
Right.
No,
What?
we have to get this guy.
Yeah, you were playing hard to get, man, and the industry responds to that kind of thing. Like the
Oh
minute
my
you turn
God.
your attention away from it, it's a jealous little bitch, and it will make you stay in this toxic
Right.
relationship forever.
Like you hear about all the time too, like people like quitting or on the verge of quitting. Like John Krasinski had a famous story about how he was about to quit, and next thing you know,
Yeah,
he books The Office. Like,
gives himself
no,
two
no,
weeks.
right. The industry's we're not done with you
Mm-mm-mm.
yet. Mm-mm.
Here's
No,
the best
you don't
sitcom of
walk
all
away.
time.
Right. And look at him now.
Right.
I've been monopolizing a lot of this conversation. My man Michael J, I'm sure you have some questions that you might want to lay on B Todd here.
Oh yeah, you guys. I mean, I'm just sitting here background enjoying you guys fluid conversation.
Well, welcome to background world, man. Like that's what you
Thank
did. You
you.
did a great job. You weren't interfering.
I
You
tried.
kept
I tried a
you're
couple times. You guys ignored me.
you're pantomiming a little bit there. I saw.
Going back, of course, you have to go back to Bautista here.
Let's go.
Batista was at one point the second man in the company
Yeah.
next to John Cena,
Yeah.
but his mainstream appeal wasn't as popular as John Cena's was.
Yeah.
Of course, he had Stone Cold, one of the most popular men of all time. Did his lack of mainstream success help his acting career? Like Stone Cold was so popular that he got leading roles right away, and that led to him flop after flop. Now he's a great
Sure.
interviewer, but Batista wasn't that well known. So when people see this guy as a enforcer in a James Bond movie, oh, this guy's pretty good. Did his
Right.
lack of mainstream success help his career, King?
Man, how could it not? I guess is my answer to that, right? Because like even if the industry was going to do with him whatever it did, I'm sure that constantly being compared to the people above you does something to fan that flame. And like I said, Dave Bautista's drive, he's insatiable. He wants to do the things that make actors legitimate in his mind. Like it to us, he is a legitimate actor. He does not have to do anything else to prove himself, but he wants to. You know what I mean? And to say I'm not just going to do action films either, like give me dramatic roles, give me lead roles. I don't want to just be a character actor. Like let me figure this out. And I also think to be blessed with James Gunn as your first
Mm.
like director to kind of like really groom you and take you through is just a blessing because like I think James Gunn understands characters and actors so well and he makes them so seamless for people because like I don't think John Cena has been better than in Peacemaker. Like Peacemaker is such a great role for him, and that's
Yeah.
all James Gunn. And James Gunn loves wrestlers, man. I don't think he'll say that. I don't think he goes to wrestling shows, but I think he loves wrestlers because of their ability to just make bold choices, you know? And yeah, 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 I love Batista, and I just I want I want for him to succeed more than I probably do other wrestlers
Mm.
as actors. I
Amen.
truly do.
Well said.
Yeah.
I think is he his rise seemed more organic
Yeah.
as a random throwaway supporting role. Now he's leading and carrying some movies sometimes.
Yeah, I mean listening to him talk, you can tell he is challenged and he loves that challenge. You
Mm.
know, and like to lose all that weight and to, like I said, shed like wrestling and say like defiantly, I'm not going back. Because like I think a lot of wrestlers feel obligated to go back to their fans, to wrestling, and that's
It's a jo-
just part of the cult of it all. But you know, I
that's a joke. You never retire. Wrestlers never retire. They always come back.
exactly. I mean, Ric Flair's still out there flopping around, man.
Yep.
You know, and
One more
like
match.
just one more, like there's enough substances to get me through this. But I think I Dave Bautista's got heart and he's got grit, man. And like, how can you not root for that? How can you
Amen.
not? Like, any wrestling fan knows the underdog story is the one that we love the most. And like, if Dave Bautista has been the perennial underdog his whole life, like, and it kind of has been, I think he's got the Oscar locked up for sure. I'm not gonna put a
Ooh.
timeline on it, but like,
Amen.
I think he's the one that's gonna be the first wrestler to take an Oscar for sure.
Well said.
Wow, wow. You know
For
what
sure.
though? I mean, like honestly,
It's hard to argue.
not to say none of them are taking it seriously, but Batista seems to be the one that's like the least afraid, the least
Yeah.
afraid to take chances. He's doing so much as far as like he's not afraid to like change his body, to change his look for a role. Like, every other, I mean, The Rock is now doing it for his new upcoming movie. But like before that, I mean, The Rock's been involved for a long time, and like
Yeah.
he's always been like The Rock.
Yeah. Like The Rock's biggest like his biggest risks to me was like the Tooth Fairy, where I'm gonna put on this tutu, you know, or like, well, in what was it San Andreas, like
Yeah.
I know what we'll do. I'll have a, I'll have a um prosthetic leg, you know, like you now I don't have 2 feet and I have to scale this building where I only have like one functioning foot and so like but The Rock's always been the hero, he's always been the enforcer and I I don't see The Rock taking on a role like Batista did in Dune 2 where he's going to allow the floor to be mopped with him. And like listen, I had a scene on Mayor of Kingstown where I had to do that and like we had this huge fight choreography day. It was 2 days of fight choreography, and like my role on Mayor of Kingstown is quite the enforcer. And there was this one scene where I don't even get a lick in, man. Like I just get handled, and you feel some way about that, but then once you realize that's just ego speaking, and like what does the story want, and like how do we serve the story best? Then you kind of let that go. But what the fellow actor was telling me was like he was basically just so appreciative because there are so many actors with ego. Like apparently Vin Diesel and Jason Statham on Fast and Furious had a punch count where they
That's
had to be
insane.
dead even in the
Oh
amount
wow.
of punches landed and like they had like a scorecard of like, well, you know, you flipped me over the table, so I get to kick you out the window and stuff like that. And that's just silly to me, man, because we the fans are not watching that shit just being like, well, you know, he did get
You
18
know
punches
there's one
landed
guy.
versus
You know there's
16.
one guy though.
Yeah, and he's probably a judge for a boxing and like that's his job and he's like, "Oh, okay, you know, like he's keeping score." But like we don't care. You know, like if you throw 17 punches and land all 17, but then I come back with just that one at the end that just floors you, that's still a good story to me, right? And like it's all about how you do it. But if your ego is the one that's in charge and driving the car, it's not going to go very far to me. Like I feel like you limit yourself then in what you can really do.
No, amen, man.
Speaking of The
Like,
Rock, um, speaking of The Rock, this past weekend, CNN aired a live stream of George Clooney's play, Good Night and Good Luck.
Oh yeah.
Watch it. Thought it was fantastic. It was a great job. So the next night was the Tony Awards, and he was nominated for that role. I'm like, oh, this guy's got to win. It's George fucking Clooney, right? He's
Yeah.
got to win. But I
Right.
just watched this show. Didn't compare it to anything else. 'Cause I didn't watch anything else. But I saw this. I know who he is. He's a great actor. He has to win this Tony. He lost.
Right.
So the question to both of you, though, is if you remove yourself as being wrestling fans as actors, the meme is that for the 5 movies in a row, Rock played the same character. Do you honestly believe Rock is that good of an actor to win an Oscar, or is it your wrestling bias seeping in, like mine was for George Clooney?
Um I am a fanboy for The Rock, self-proclaimed. No shame in that. Um I think my bias does lean into that like but I also again because I just so like me personally, I have no desire to win an Oscar. And you can say I'm two-faced and you can say I'm hypocritical, but like I just don't. I
bullshit.
know it does everything for your career. Like, would I be happy if I got one? Yeah, but I'm 40 now. I haven't hit my huge break that, you know, maybe I could have. Like, I'm not a Timothy Chalamet who's like coming out swinging and booking everything before I'm 18 and beyond. But like, again, a SAG award would mean so much more to me than an Oscar because I just feel like they're tone deaf. They get it wrong. Like Leo
That makes sense.
DiCaprio's best movie was not Reverence, or you know, where he's like,
Revenant, yeah.
yeah, where he's wrestling a grizzly bear and stuff like that. But they gave it to him because he should have gotten it for Wolf of Wall Street and stuff, right?
You hear that a lot, yeah.
I oh, I heard that play was phenomenal, and like I heard George Clooney was in it, and I did see part of the interview on CNN where his father was like a newscaster, so the
Yeah.
entire performance is dedicated to his dad, and like also. I've never heard of George Clooney being on stage before. Like he
No,
went straight
debut.
from ER to
Hmm.
being the biggest movie star in the world. And like I give him credit for that because a lot of times I know we've all seen them, but there are some movie stars out there that do not belong on that stage, and it's painful to watch.
A big
Painful.
difference. Big difference.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to touch on
On
Puddy's
Max now if you want to
question,
watch it, by the way. It's available
Yeah.
on Mac if you want to watch it.
I'll
Bet.
definitely check it out. To answer Puddy's question though, like here's the thing about The Rock, right? Like, could it be some fandom of me talking? Sure, but like The Rock is not one to just like to do something half-ass, right? He goes all in and then some on whatever goal that he sets his eyes to, and he always accomplishes his goal and then some. For him, I think this is not just something the decision that was done overnight. I think this being in the process for a while now for him to eyeing these type of roles. Um, I think he wants it. I think he wants to win an Oscar. I think he wants to, get that monkey off his back here and take this to the next level. And like I think maybe he's been working with an acting coach. I wouldn't be surprised if he was working with some of the
Yeah,
best,
sure.
to go for this. He's working with some fantastic directors. You're hearing great things that are coming out of this last movie that he just finished, right? Like that's why I think he will get it because this man has never failed and I don't think he'll fail in this mission.
I think the minute you start chasing an Oscar, you're never going to get farther from it. Like, look at Bradley Cooper with Maestro. He took 7 years of classical
Mm.
music conducting
Wow.
training. He directed the movie in full costume, in character the entire time. Was it to serve the purpose of the movie of telling a good story, or was it to get an Oscar?
But some
And
of it is
I say it was
bad
to get an
luck,
Oscar, and
though.
that's
Some of it's
sure.
bad
But
luck. Like if you're coming out with like in a year, like I've seen like some actors like they had just had no competition that year, right? But then you see like one like when I thought for sure Tom Hanks won an Oscar for Philadelphia, right? Great
oh,
performance, fantastic movie. Guess what? He didn't. You look
right.
at it like the people he won up against that year. Any other year he would have won. That
Yeah.
year was tough. It was tough. I don't have it on the top of my head. I looked at it the other day and I just couldn't believe like the list of talented performers there were that year. Um,
But I don't
it's,
believe like Honora was trying to win the Academy Award for Best Picture when it made and this guy directed and edited it himself. You know what I mean? I don't think Parasite, when it won, was going for Oscar. I think these people were genuinely just trying to tell a really good story and just do the best that they could. I don't think it was for an end result of winning an award, though. I
no,
mean,
I think most cases it's not for the end result of winning an award. But I have nothing wrong. I view nothing wrong with what Timothy Chalamet said when he won the SAG Awards, saying that he wants to be the best, that he wants to be the GOAT, he wants to be Michael Jordan. I see nothing wrong with that. If winning an award is what drives you, cool, go for it. If you want to be the
sure.
best, go for it. So the Rock comes from obviously a competitive background, and
Yes.
to be the best, what does that mean? You have something to show for it. Um, for others, like you just said, like winning an award is secondary. It's not your goal. If you win it, cool, so be it. If not, like cool. Um, but like I think The Rock is someone that is he wants it because of like, well, I want to be the best,
But
and
do
I think
you
there's
need
nothing wrong
that
with
to
it.
certify that you are the best? Like, because then where does it stop? Like, if Jack Nicholson's won 3 Oscars and he's now like the most winningest Oscar award winning actor, are you going to be satisfied with just one, or now do you need to win 4 Oscars? Or
Mm.
do you need to get your EGOT status and get an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony?
I think
Like
like
what?
with what we do, like it's so subjective. It depends who you ask, you know?
Sure.
Like I don't know. Again, like there are plenty of people in this industry who just don't care about it, right? Like we
Sure. I
know
just want to
that.
work. I don't give a
Yeah,
fuck
I
about
just
winning an
want,
award.
I
I just want to
want
work, dog.
Amen. Amen, brother. Well, I feel like I can continue this conversation all day. I did see my headphones are about to die in any second. So I think that's a sign that it's time to wrap up here. B
Right on.
Todd, again, you have your show Ballard coming out July 9th. We're excited with that with Maggie Q on Amazon Prime. It's out social media right now. The trailers, please check it out. B Todd, where can they find you in social media?
Check me out at B Todd's World on Instagram. That's the number one place I am. BTODDS World. B Todd's World.
Not a content creator, ladies and gentlemen, full-blown actor, writer. Um,
And
Michael J.
wrestler.
Puddy, thank you for joining me on this show,
Of
for
course,
being
anytime.
with me. And for everyone else, thank you for tuning in here. This has been a blast. We're going to do this bi-weekly. We're going to be releasing episodes. Give us a follow, like, share, subscribe, spread the word about this. You can follow us on all forms of social media at Beyond the Take Podcast. I am Marc Chouen. Thank you so much. Cheers, everyone.